So, friends, England has won the first test match against New Zealand in a spectacular manner. What a great run chase it was, and it was possible due to an unbeaten century by Joe Root. He scored 115 net out in the last innings while chasing a difficult total. And in doing so, Joe Root has made a unique record and a unique coincidence has happened. Joe Root now has crossed 10,000 test runs in test match cricket, and he is only the second English player to do that and the 14th international player overall to cross 10,000 test runs. And in doing that, he has also made a record. Joe Root is now the youngest player, the youngest batsman to cross 10,000 test match runs. And there is a unique coincidence which has happened that he is now the joint holder for this record with Alastair Cook. You would be surprised to know that when Alastair Cook crossed 10,000 test match runs, he was 31 years, 5 months and 5 days old. And today when Joe Root has done that, he has crossed 10,000 runs. Joe Root is also exactly of the same age. He is also 31 years, 5 months and 5 days old. So this is a unique coincidence which has happened, that even the number of days are exactly the same. And I don't think that such a coincidence is going to happen again. And regarding Joe Root, I would say that Joe Root has become my favorite player. He was my one of the favorite players, but I really like him. He doesn't brag about his performance. He just goes on with his work and he has got a good technique. He performs under pressure. His team has not been doing well in the last 2 years, but still he has been scoring runs for England. And now finally, due to his performance, England has finally won a test match. He is only 31 years old. If he keeps scoring these runs at this rate, I think he might break the record of Sachin Tendulkar. You never know. He right now among the Fab Four, I would say that he has crossed Kane Williamson and Virat Kohli both. And if he keeps scoring like this for the next 4 or 5 years, then maybe he might end up as the best test match batsman of this era. Now, looking at this first test match, nobody expected, or I would say very few people expected England to chase down a target of 277 runs in the last innings, considering that they were 69 for 4 while chasing, and their performance in the last 2 years have not been really good. But it was possible. I would say that it was possible because luck was also with England. Due to the change in captaincy, Ben Stokes was the new captain, and there was some luck factor also. As you can see that when Ben Stokes came, he got out early. He was still in the single figures, and he was going back to the pavilion, but that ball was a no ball, and he was called back. And after that, he scored a good half century, and there was a crucial 90 runs partnership between Ben Stokes and Joe Root, which put England back onto the track. And their score was then 159 for 5. And after that, there was a brilliant 120 runs unbeaten partnership between Joe Root and Ben Stokes, their new wicketkeeper batsman, their young wicketkeeper batsman, who didn't really contribute a lot with the bat in this partnership. Ben Stokes only scored 32 net out. Rest of the runs were scored by Joe Root, but he provided that stability and that confidence to Joe Root that the other end is secure. Wickets are not going to fall from the other end. Ben Stokes played quite a steady innings with a good technique, good defense, and he is known for that. And because of that, Joe Root then started playing freely. Then Joe Root improved his strike rate in the second half of his innings. And if we see how the overall match went, there were lots of ups and downs in the match. Like New Zealand on the first day got out on 132 runs only. There was a batting collapse. And then English fans were feeling that England would bat well in the first innings and take a good lead. But England also got out for only 141 runs. And then New Zealand, again, they were struggling at 56 for 4. But after that, due to a brilliant century by Daryl Mitchell, and their wicketkeeper batsman Tom Blundell also scored a 96. So New Zealand managed to post a score of 285, and that gave England a target of 277 runs. And that was a good target, a good score, because on this ground, Usually such high targets are not achieved in the fourth innings. But I think England managed to achieve this target. One other factor which helped them was that they were batting on day three only, because they scored almost 225 runs on day three only. So even though it was a fourth innings, but the match didn't go on day four or day five, in the later half of day four or the day five. So even though it was the last innings, but still the batting was not really that difficult on day three. The pitch had flattened out, and that also helped England. And they were able to make a good partnership. First was between Ben Stokes and Joe Root, then Joe Root and Ben Foakes. And for England, there was successful return of James Anderson and Stuart Broad. Anderson took total 6 wickets, Broad total 4 wickets. So together they took 10 wickets in the match. That is half of the New Zealand team. And they have found a new pacer now, Matty Potts, who took total 7 wickets in the innings. So he has been a good find for England. So overall, going into the second test match, there are more worry signs for New Zealand compared to England, because for New Zealand, only two, or I would say three of their batsmen performed well. Darrell Mitchell and Tom Lindell, and then Colin D. Granholm, who scored a good 40 not out runs in the first innings. Otherwise, rest of their batting completely failed in both the innings. Kane Williamson is really struggling for form, and also his record in England has not been good. While on the other hand, if you see England, for England, their openers performed better than New Zealand, even though they didn't score a lot of runs, but still they gave a steady start to them. And then three of their players have batted well: Joe Root, Ben Stokes, and Ben Foakes. And Johnny Bairstow, I think in this match he couldn't score runs, but he has been in good form. So for England, their only worry sign seems the batting of Oli Pope. Otherwise, their batting is looking better than New Zealand batting, and also it's home conditions for them. So going into the second match, I think it is going to be a really good one. New Zealand will have to make a comeback. Their batsmen will have to come back in form. Regarding bowling, it is both the teams are performing well in the bowling department. Their pacers, seamers are going to enjoy the conditions here in England. But the worry sign is about the batting. So let's see how the second match goes. I'll be talking with you about the second match also before the start of the match. I'll be giving you my preview about the match. And this was a thrilling match, friends. So let's see, friends, how the series goes. I'm sure this is going to be an exciting one, and I'm hoping for a New Zealand comeback in the second match. Let's see.